Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for our webinar tonight, Increase Learning and Reduce the Summer Slide Through Play with Julie Belair-Bak. I'm so glad you're here. I see that people are starting to get on the Zoom webinar chat. So for those that have never joined us before, I just want to walk you through some things. My name is Jennifer Skinner. I am in the sales and customer support. I'm a registered ECE and I'm a mom of 4 myself. And I always look forward to coming here and learning more. I take some amazing gems away from me every time I hear Julie. So I know tonight she is not going to disappoint again. So I have a couple of things I need to let you know. First, we're going to go through the Zoom webinar chat. You can see at the bottom of your screen, you've got a chat button on Zoom, and then 2 icons over, you have a question and answer. So what I'd like you to do throughout the whole webinar is go to that question and answer. And if there's something that you haven't heard yet from Julie or you want to know more, make sure that you engage with us and put those questions. There's no silly questions, honestly. If you're thinking it, I'm sure there's other registered ECEs or parents, grandparents, teachers out there that may feel that same way or want to, dive in a little bit more specific. So please make sure that you engage with us. Let us know where you're from. I see we have people from Edmonton. Look over, we got Toronto, so Ontario. I always say that Canada joins us. You are so welcome to join us, and you make sure you let all your friends know that if you need a certificate for joining us, what we've been telling everybody is, unfortunately, if you're watching on Facebook Live, we cannot validate that you've joined us for the hour, but if you're here live through Zoom and you've been here for a full hour, you will receive a certificate of professional development and continuous learning. So I know that some of you require that, so we'll get that to you. So question and answer. I want to also tell you that some of you have told us in the past that when you see the presentation and the slide that you can't see Julie big enough. So I want you to just take your mouse, slide over to the picture and click on that, and you can make that full screen. So if you're feeling that you want to see her more than the presentation, you can adjust that on Zoom, okay? So I wanted to let you know that. And also prizes. Every webinar, we give away 5 prizes away, and how we choose them is with you engaging. So you can see we have a lot of products that we're going to go through. Julie's going to, of course, dive in and tell you more about them, but we will hand pick something special for the children in your life. So if you're chosen one of those 5s, and how do you join? How do you get involved in this prize pack? Is you engage with us. So ask questions, write comments, and then from all those people that have joined us, Julie and I will pick 5 winners, and then we will contact you tomorrow and get some information from you, and then we'll send your prize pack to a store close to you. And I wish you all the best. So what brought you to the webinar? Let's see. You make sure that not only do you tell us where you're from, who you are, but let us know, your profession. Thank you, Ms. Jen, for your webinar. So I'm so glad that you are loving this. ECEs, teachers, grandparents from all across Canada. Thank you so much. And the prizes are amazing. Heather, hi Heather. I know Heather was one of our winners. So Heather, thank you for piping in. She likes our prizes. See, I told you, we make it custom for you, and that's very important to us. Okay, I'm gonna let Julie talk more. Julie, for those that haven't joined us, and I know Steve, you haven't joined us, Julie Belair-Bak is our Vice President of Sales for ScholarsChoice. And Julie, she's been training early childhood educators and teachers throughout Canada. She's working on her master's, and she's an amazing and interesting woman to speak with. Her passion scans 20 years of experience, and she keeps, you know, children engaged, and she keeps us engaged. So without any further ado, let me just see. I know you're not here to see me. Julie's going to let you know about some events coming up. Julie, welcome to the floor.
Oh, Jen, you're too sweet. Thank you very much. Welcome. It's so great to be with you again. I'm really excited about our topic for this evening, increasing learning and reducing summer slide. You know, we really have, 8 to 10 weeks of great fun with our children over the summer where they're able to play and enjoy outdoors. I hope many of you were on our last webinar where we talked about outdoor play. And we're going to circle back and talk a little bit about that again tonight and how that plays into reducing summer slide. But before we get too far along, I want to make sure that I remind you about Teacher Appreciation. So Teacher Appreciation is Wednesday, July 31st. It's at all the retail stores and online. There's 20% off. And if that's not enough, in addition to all of that, we have actually shopping at ScholarsChoice just got better because we are starting SC Rewards. So a great program that will allow you to continue to get your current discount and also collect points to earn free product. You'll be able to earn points for referrals, recommending product, doing reviews, as well as shopping in the store and online. So it's really great. We're so excited to be able to make shopping at ScholarsChoice that much better. And we're going to be launching it on Teacher Appreciation Day. So come on in on Teacher Appreciation Day, enjoy the 20% off, everything in store and online. In addition to that, renew your membership and we'll give you 15,000 points, which is equal to $15. So it really is amazing, amazing program. We're all so excited about it. And actually on our next webinar, I'm going to wear my nice SC Rewards t-shirt just to remind everyone. So, make sure that you come in. Our hours are going to be 9 to 9. We stay on live chat that whole time as well to be responding to you. If you want some product recommendations, I'll be online as well, and I can make recommendations for you. And also, the first 25 guests get a free giveaway. Like, look at this bag. I'm not kidding. This is full of things. And the first 25 customers in line and online, Emily will draw throughout the day for someone. So the first 25 customers get a free giveaway, and online, Emily will be drawing people as well in order for you to be able to earn the packages for free. Oh, sorry, Katie, can you just pass me that? I really appreciated that. Really, really, really. So, so today, Jen mentioned to you that we have teachers and we have parents and grandparents and early childhood educators. And so what's really important is to remember that Teacher Appreciation is available to everyone. We celebrate all teachers, whether you're the parent who's the teacher, the grandparent who's supporting the child, a caregiver who's supporting the child, teachers as well as educators who are early childhood educators. All of you are being celebrated on Teacher Appreciation Day. So come on out. We really look forward to you. And so that's just next Wednesday. So let's talk about our, you can tell I'm pretty excited about what's going on. So let's just talk a little bit about what is summer slide. You hear it. Some people might have read this and said, well, summer slide, isn't that just a slide that's in your backyard? Well, it's a little bit more than that. So Summer slide is a phrase used to describe the backward slide in learning that many children experience over the summer months. And we see it in reading and math skills over the summer when children have had little opportunity to be working on their skills. You can combat the summer slide by encouraging your child to devote a small little amount of their time, not a big amount, a small amount, to working on keeping up their skills. And I'm going to give you some ideas, tonight that you can use. But it is a real issue for all of us, in that our children do lose learning over the 2 months, and so it's important that we reinforce that. And some of you are thinking, oh, she's going to talk about, that it's hours and hours a day, and how will my child combat that? And I don't want to have the fight with them. So just hold on and let me give you some great ideas that is going to make dealing with summer slide, now that you really understand what it is, much more attainable for your family. So the next thing we have up is do you think, it's a poll that we want you to respond to. So do you think your children have experienced summer slide? And so it's already the 23rd. So let's just see what many of you think about summer slide. So just the poll is up on the screen right now. And if you want to chime in, we look forward to you responding. And then we'll just get those in just a minute. Oh, thank you so much, Jen. Jen just brought me a little bit of water. No, I can't.
Not yet.
So we're just waiting for all the tallies to come in. And here we go. So 66, oh, I saw it and then it disappeared. So there, oh, and it disappeared again. So Jeff, you could just hold that mouse down, click it, hold it. 66% say yes, 11% say no, and 23% of you say you're not sure. So you're not really sure what it is that you're looking for. So hopefully, that we'll be able to give you some, identifiable criteria for you to be looking at with your children this summer in order to be able to establish that. So thank you so much for chiming in on that. I always like to have that opportunity early on to chat with you. So let's talk about 5 ways that we might combat summer slide. And look at those children playing. Isn't that magnificent? It is so great. The weather has been so wonderful in the last week. I know it's been hot, but it's, just remember -30, and it makes the +30 a lot more tolerable, doesn't it? So the average student loses about a month of academic learning each summer. So you can see that over time that begins to build up. The impact of summer slide contributes to a more pronounced achievement gap in younger learners. So children that are just mastering skills, it is much easier and much more evident about the slide, because it's not, we've talked before about the brain, and the more we do things, we build up a superhighway in there. The synapses move very quickly, allowing us to retrieve information much more efficiently than when we first learned something. So you know yourself, when you've learned a new skill that's perhaps something new in technology, or you get a new iPhone and you you fumble a bit with it because you might not remember where the camera is or how it is to do the zoom, because you've only used it a few times. But once you've used it multiple times, you become very proficient. And the child's mind, just like yours, functions in the same manner, so that the more that they practice, the more entrenched that superhighway is developed in their learning. But when they haven't done it much, it's easy for the summer slide to become much more impactful, because they really don't have those entrenched skills. So you really do see the achievement gap, pronounced in young children. Research has found the link between socioeconomic status and the loss of summer reading experiences over the summer. A lot of times that what we're seeing is that there isn't the opportunity for the child to be exposed to enriched programming. So, make sure that you use the programs that are available to you that are at no cost. The library, the museums. If you take a look, you'll see that there's often free hours or free days during the summertime. So take a look for those opportunities. And also, don't forget to come on out to Scholars Choice. Last weekend, we had a great sensory event, which really allowed children to explore some experiments and to make some great sensory toys for themselves. So look for those opportunities through the summer to really engage your children without having to have huge costs. Studies show older students lose more over the summer than younger students. And so you see the achievement gap most evident in younger children, but older children that can spend the whole entire summer kind of sitting on their computer or let's say playing video games, we see when they go back to school that there is a lot more loss for them. And so, where I'm talking children grade 6 and up, you really begin to see that we really spend almost a month recapturing some of that learning. And that's a whole, anywhere from 2 weeks to a month of lost new learning for us as teachers when we're presenting new information. So, when you think you have a limited scope of time, you don't want to spend 2 weeks to a month reviewing material that you otherwise could have been retained by children. So here are some more ways to combat summer learning. So why is summer downtime important to children? So first of all, I want to let you know there are ways to combat summer slide, but I also want you to know that we believe wholeheartedly that it's in time for children to have downtime. So I want to tell you a little bit about why it's so important for children to have downtime, and that it's not just every day all about, doing schoolwork and doing more schoolwork. Students see a greater academic loss in math than in reading over the summer. And often it's because it's new math and we don't have that superhighway. So downtime. Let's talk a little bit about downtime. Sitting upside down, doing a handstand in the grass. This is important work of the child. Most children these days experience high expectations in the classroom, fewer opportunities to unwind and be themselves and to just let loose and explore their mind, explore their ideas. Unwinding with recess and art is not as prevalent as it was when I was a child, perhaps when you were a child. Busy social schedules. I have this play date, I have this ballet class, I have to go to soccer, I have baseball, I have football, I have baby gym, I have swimming lessons. These are all very busy. And one of the things that I've been really focusing on recently in just my own growth and development is making time to wait for the child. And really respecting the child's learning as I wait for them. So not always pulling them away from activities and saying, okay, come on, we gotta go. And if I do have to, but to set the framework that we do have to transition. And before the transition, let them know that we will respect their work and make sure it's preserved. So if they're building something, say to them, we're going to keep this here. We do have to transition, but we want you to know that it's going to be here waiting for you and it's not going to be taken apart. So really, working on, when possible, wait for the child and not have as many transitions throughout the day by bouncing them all over the place. And if you must, move them on while they're still working on some really key, you can really see learning happening, is to make sure that you give them that respect that you're going to preserve what it is that they're working on. So that's just something that I am working on right now with my own growth and development. But there seems to be an endless supply of extracurricular activities for our children. And it's unfortunate because research shows us that the time of off task is important for proper brain function and overall health development. So I just want to say that again, that what we know is that off time, relaxation time, rest time, relaxation time is so important to brain function. And we know that when children's brains are quiet, which we believe, standing upside down, there's a lot of thinking going on, and a lot of, this is when, remember when, you've heard this story many times, and I hope I don't get it wrong and embarrass myself, but that Newton was looking out his window and the apple fell, and then that's how he thought about gravity. He wasn't thinking about gravity. He was distracted into other thinking. And when it happened, his brain was open to the possibilities of new thoughts. And that's what happens when a child is at a natural state of rest. Their brain is open to new ideas to come into their brain. So, and this is, I just put the quote in there, who it was from. We always send you the notes after if you want to look at some further research done by H. Smith in this area. So we talked a little about the rest. Let's talk about what is doing nothing. And we're not going away from summer slide. I just want you to understand that it's all about a balance, right? It's not about, academic 6 hours a day in the summertime is going to get your child ahead. What we know is that a healthy, well-adjusted child will always be successful, will always be able to cope with the challenges of the work that's presented to them. When the work is challenging, they'll be able to be healthy, a healthy response to that, and not overly anxious. And so we need children to be able to relax. And so what is doing nothing? What is doing nothing? You know how we always said, children need to be active. Doing nothing is just a waste of time. Well, actually, I'm going to challenge you to rethink that. Boredom can be the start of creativity, new ideas, and even learning. Sometimes when we are bored, our mind goes to places, and then we begin to rethink about what our teacher may have said, or how we may have jumped off a log and what we experienced during that time. And actual learning is happening because we have an opportunity to rethink something that happened in our past. Allowing your children to be bored, it will amaze you what they come up with. And I know it's challenging for all of us. I'm bored. I don't have anything to do. Well, here are some toys. Let's go outside. Let's lay on the grass. Let's look up at the clouds. I did this just the other day. And I was looking up at the clouds, and I was thinking about, what images that I could see in the clouds. And it's really great fun, and it really gives children an idea of what they can do when there's nothing to do in their minds, when they think that they're bored. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about what some of those activities could be in order to really combat summer slide without it being about worksheets. Stop curating your children's every move. They don't need their lives curated. Your life wasn't curated for you, and it's important that children's lives are not. And by that, I mean that every moment is structured with activities. So, do you think, here's another poll that's popping up on your screen. Do you think that when your child tells you that they are bored, that you need to come up with an activity for them? Let me know what you think about that. Is that, do you feel that's your responsibility to come up with that? There's some questions there on the board. If you could respond to them, and then we'll just review those again in a moment. Okay, do we have everybody in, Katie? Okay, do you want to pull that across the screen? Can you just move it a little bit one way or the other? Perfect, thank you. So let me just ask the question one more time. Do you think that when your child tells you that they are bored, that you need to come up with activities for them? 15% of you said yes. 24% of you said no, 59% said sometime, and 2% said never. So good for you, great. I mean, remember, all of these answers, there's no wrong answers. It's just being open, as I had said, to new thinking, and I'm challenging you to come up with some new thinking as we go through this. But here's the hard one I'm going to share with you right now. Watching television is not downtime. In our series before, we talked about television and getting off screens, and that children needed less screen time. And if you didn't get a chance to watch those, please go back. They're all available on our YouTube channel for you to go back and watch. But what's really important for you to digest is that television is not downtime for a child. Sorry, kids, unfortunately, every hour of screen time that kids are associated with increased blood pressure, well, every hour spent reading is associated with decreased blood pressure. Screen time is linked with not only physical health problems, but also mental health problems, attention problems, behavioral problems. And it's important for you to understand, I'm not saying your child's going to have all of this because they watch television, but it is associated with it. So whether it's one of them or multiple ones, what we know is excessive time in front of screens leads to other issues for your child. And reducing those times that children have a screen is a very positive effect for your child. You don't have to throw out the television and the tablets and everything else. Please don't think that that's what we're talking about. But what we are talking about is that it's not a good time, summertime solution to just put your children in front of the TV. And I know it's hard, and I'm not preaching to you. I get it. I understand that when a child is crying or whining or overall not coping with life at the moment, it's very easy to turn on a screen. But what I am going to tell you is not soothing them. They may be quiet, but what is going on inside their brain is not a positive. And especially if we are looking at hours, and we've sent to you all of the appropriate hours for screen times. If you want those, please put it into your chat, and we'll make sure we send that if you don't know what those are. But remember, screen time is not a solution for you. So how do we build brain power? Let's get back to how do we help our children over the summertime. So building brain power. Summer is a great opportunity to build brain power and the brain's motivational capacity. What the heck is brain's motivational capacity? Let's suppose your child loves Lego and can spend hours playing with them. But during the school year, he does not have that luxury because you may have other social activities, you may have planned activities for them, and then school takes up a very big chunk, right? They may have before and after school programming, so they don't have the luxury to spend as much time as they would like. And remember, we talked a little bit about waiting for the child, allowing the child to have the time in order to fully experience the learning that's in front of them and not having it interrupted. Your child has the opportunity to go to Lego camp or even visit a Lego store and stock up. Or, that great big fabulous activity tray we showed you last webinar, is that you take that outside and put Lego on it and allow them to sit under the cool breeze of a tree for hours and play and imagine. And they can incorporate twigs and grass into that play. They could take their little figurines on fabulous adventures where they're able to tie together the wonder of outdoors with their Lego. And that's why the tray is so amazing, because you can actually build on it because it's a solid surface. But this is what we want. This builds brain's motivational capacity by allowing children to spend time doing what they love. And actually behind me, we have some really great, can you see this if I point this out, Katie, on the screen? Right here are some snap circuits which are a great toy for children to be able to have. And there's all kinds of games back here, and we'll talk about them a little bit more. But when children are interested in particular activities, in order to be able to tie this together, is very important that they have time. It's okay, I'll show it again. I understand it didn't show very well. I apologize for that. But if I could just, the poll is still up there. Mm-hmm. If you could just move the poll. So just while we're moving the poll, if we can talk a little bit more about some of the things that children are. Thank you so much, Katie. That's awesome. Just perfect there. Perfect. Oh, look at that. She's got it totally gone. So what we're looking for are highly engaged activities that children are passionate about. Katie, could I just get the clicker to, can you just give me the control? Katie has to give me back the control for the clicker. She likes to have control. She only gives it to me infrequently when she thinks I'm in control or not. When children are highly engaged in an activity, they find challenging, but not stressful. So not you standing behind them saying, you're doing it wrong. This is how to do it. Are you following the directions? Not that kind, mom and dad and other people who are with children. It's really about allowing them to explore it. And remember, we've talked before, what does exploration also involve? Exploration involves failure. And by that, I mean being unsuccessful at a portion or the whole project and starting again and developing perseverance, an attitude or personality of perseverance, which is so important for children in the overall scope of their life and success. So when we talk about finding things that are challenging but not stressful, neurochemicals in the brain like dopamine spike. This enhances the brain's capacity to be motivated. So when I find something I'm motivated by, the neurosynapses, the neurochemicals in my brain actually produce dopamine, which allows me to have a capacity of motivation. Wow, that's pretty exciting. You know, I think that all of us can experience when we're doing something we love, we feel motivated. The time flies by. How many of us are doing something and we look at the clock and we can't believe an hour's gone by? It really is about doing something that you're passionate about and engaged with, and it's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. And you know, here I have this little guy called a Bee-Bot, and I'm just going to move over this speaker because can you see him? So this little guy is our little friend, and he's called a Bee-Bot, and he's an introductory programming tool for young children. So if let me just see his little eyes, he's turned on. So if I want him to go forward twice, I push forward twice and I push so. Oh, well, it would have been better if I had pushed forward instead of backwards. But, so our little friend here is, he's reached his destination. So having something like this whereby children can send this little guy, they can decorate him and send him on the most wonderful adventures. They can build a maze with blocks and send him through it and figure out how to navigate through the blocks and program him and see if they're successful. What we find is when children have activities that they feel engaged in, many young children like to be on screens and tablets. So this is a great alternative. This is a little programming tool that's just fabulous. It's really for 3 and up because it's very basic and very simple. And there's some great videos on our website for this little Bee-Bot. But what I'm looking to share with you is that technology is a part of all of our children's lives. It always will be there. We're not going to ever not have technology. And programming is going to be something that, you know, I can't program, although I did do computer science in my first year of university. But I obviously wasn't very good at it because that was the last course I also took in programming. But what I'm going to share with you is that introductory programming is going to be important because our children will be able to program because it will be a part of everyday life. It'll be like the language of English that we speak. And so, you know, introducing things like this to them at a young age that's in an environment that is free of stress and engaging is really a wonderful opportunity for them to become exposed to the cause and effect of putting in a logarithm and having it translate. So this is a great tool, and I think that it's a great one, and you can take a look on our website and you can see it's called the Bee-Bot, and there's many accessories for him. And you know, many of your children will have experienced this in their classrooms, which is great because now they can have it at home for a reasonable price, especially when you think the hundreds and hundreds of dollars that you're spending on some of these boxes that they play games on. So anyways, highly engaged activities. And I also brought something here these are some STEAM challenges. These are 30 STEAM challenges that are, oh, good night, Bee-Bot just went to sleep. So 30 STEAM challenges that you could have, and STEAM being science, technology, engineering, and math.
And so these cards would allow children to have challenges to work through in the summer. So there really are some great alternatives for us to look at when we think about what to do with our children. And this is still free activities. This is not mandated. They can pick the card. They can work at their own pace. So I think that there are some really great things out there for them. Let's talk a little bit about get kids to engage in fun learning. So what does that look like? Look at those children. They're building a birdhouse. And look at the other children swimming. Would we all agree that these children look like they're having fun? And I think that when we see new opportunities for children to learn, children going to swimming lessons. I have grandchildren that are learning to swim. They're right at that age of 4, for sort of 2 to 4, learning to swim. And it's amazing to watch them become proficient and to learn and to experiment with different techniques that allow them to expand their knowledge base so that they can move forward in their cognitive development, which is involving, in this case, swimming. But it's fun at the same time. So let's not get burdened down. The idea is not that the child sits, with a workbook, which you can see. We have no workbooks back here, which I'm a huge proponent of workbooks, by the way. I do love workbooks. I think they're fabulous. I think 15 minutes on a workbook would be just amazing. Children do need to have the discipline of continuing to work. But tonight was more about making sure that there was engaging fun. So, Jen, do you just want to just zip over to the store and get me some check and double check? Come on. Yes, there's some check and double check I just want Jen to get you because I want you to see it's a really, really good book. And so let's just see. So tips to reduce summer slide. So I just wanted to, circle back and make sure that you feel confident that we have some ideas for you. Build a new skill. So building a new skill really engages your brain because you're learning something new. So whether it's learning to program with our little Bee-Bot and you're young, or some of the older ones, or some, come on in and take a look at the advanced technologies that we also have. We have a great brochure called Cognitive Thinking that's just computational thinking, sorry. It's amazing. And maybe someone from our marketing team could run it down for me, computational thinking, and I'll just show everyone what that looks like. So learn to swim, develop a new hobby, perhaps maybe building. We have a great new line of from Stanley Tools of tools and wood products that children can build. It's really, really great. It makes them feel that they are accomplishing something, and to have something at the end, like a craft kit would have, or this birdhouse, really gives you a sense of accomplishment where you can look at something. Yourself, if you've ever sewn or knit or crocheted, the sense of accomplishment you have afterwards, it really does make you feel good about yourself. So developing new hobbies, interests that actually improve a child's cognitive skills. And that's very important for all of us as we are, for all of us and our children. Invest in the right kind of screen time. So here, what does that mean? Julie, what does that mean? Well, here it is. How about some great old movies where you can sit down and explore with children? Thank you so much, Brent. I really appreciate it. Our VP of Marketing just slid this in, computational thinking. This is a great new brochure. Let us know if you want to have one. We can send you the link to it. And it goes through the whole programming journey for you. So all of the different programming that's happening in your child's school are now available for you to think about at home. So here it is again. Let us know, all the way from as young as 3 to 4, all the way up to, I think it's 14 in here. That we deal with. We talk about scratch programming, and it's really, really, really good. So the Rainbow Matrix, the InnoBot, your children would know all of this. So computational thinking, if you want to see the brochure, just let us know and we'll send you the link. But what about a great old movie? What about something that you enjoyed as a child and that you would share? What about Mary Poppins? And I know there's the new one, but what about exposing your children to one of the old ones? How about documentaries? that explore under the water, inside of a volcano, on the surface of Mars. These things take children to new and glorious places where their minds travel. What we have to embrace is that children's minds take them places every day. And by sharing that with them, by going through documentaries, I watched an amazing documentary, what, a week and a half ago on elephants. It was fabulous. It was fabulous. And they amaze me. And for children to be exploring different places, new animals, is phenomenal. And there are some great documentaries out there called Our Planet. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Our Oceans. There's so many. And some of you love this Shark Week or Shark World, where you just see these amazing creatures. So these are some other ideas. So, the right kind of screen time is what we want to expose our children to. Oops, I clicked this one. See, this is why Katie doesn't let me have this all the time. Consider adding robotics, and I already did talk about that. Develop new interest, and it is going to be a part of our children's world as they move forward. So really explore these new ideas. And I just mentioned a few. There's so many more that you could look at, but remember to share your interests too. If you like to knit, share with your children. Perhaps they'd like to learn that. Or crochet, French. Or what about French knitting? Corking, I think it was called when I was a child. Very, very easy to do. We have great kits for you to do that. And it really will allow your children to explore new interests. It may or may not be what they love, but you cork the long string, and then afterwards you can make a nice pot holder, or perhaps a pad to put a hot pot on, and then use it with them. Let them see that you're proud of what they've done and that it's actually useful in everyday life. It really, really makes a child feel successful. Here are some more ideas. Write in the sand or on the sidewalk. When you're outside and you want to support summer slide, but you don't want it to be about workbooks, what about writing on the sidewalk? What about doing math equations on the sidewalk? What about doing color sorting on the sidewalk? Drawing a pink house, a yellow house, a purple and a blue, and say, okay, let's go find things that match. Let's go find everything that's blue and everything that's purple. I wouldn't do green because I think it might get done really quickly, and pink. But these are some great ideas. Use the sand if you're at the beach or in your backyard in your sandbox, and do counting with them. Have them, begin to practice if they're pre-writers, getting to use that really large movement is so important. They need to first develop their shoulder muscle, their bicep, their forearm, and really in the muscles in their hand, and then this arch stretch here is so important for children to develop. And what we know is that gets started with very large movements and making marks. We need children to make marks in order for them to begin to understand that this is how literacy, the written literacy is emerged, and they will begin to do that and then begin to draw, and their drawings begin to be how they communicate, and it's also very powerful. Use paintbrushes outside with water. So just a paintbrush and water on a sidewalk. They can write their name. They can write numbers. They can draw pictures, and it just evaporates, and they can do it again. You can add food coloring if you choose to. Let them write on the side of the brick of the house or the building that you're in. Parking lots. These are all opportunities where there aren't cars that's dangerous. But making sure that they're safe, but having them outside with just a paintbrush and water is a great opportunity for them to be able to express themselves and develop and grow. Katie, can I just have you say this again? Oh, now it is. Write math equations on the sidewalk. Let them solve the problems using a piece of chalk themselves, and let them figure out how the equation can be solved. These are so important. How about, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. How about while your children are at the store, let them make the change. Let them pay for something and count back the change into their hand. let you do that. And then you could even go outside afterwards and show them on the sidewalk what it looks like. That's much more fun than going home and writing it on a piece of paper in your kitchen. What about a scavenger hunt? What about clues outside? How fun is that? And the clues can be written so that, like maybe perhaps rhyming clues, so that the clue is, instead of, you might say, go to that, and then you show a picture of a bee. So what would that clue be? You would go to a bee, a tree. Oh, okay, well, maybe the word's tree, and then I go to the tree. So this is just an example, but having a scavenger hunt. And remember, if the children can't read, you can do a scavenger hunt with pictures. As they learn to read, you can do a scavenger hunt with rhyming. If they're older, you can do a scavenger hunt that has clues to take them to the next place. These are all ways to extend summer learning and reduce summer slide. Children are reading, children are doing math, and they're not sitting at a table. We're going to talk in a minute about the importance of that. And I still feel very, very important that children need to be able to focus, sit down for a period of time and work. It is important for all of us to understand that this is required for children to be able to be focused, but they're much more able to do that when their brains are rested from having excitement, that they're not stressed because they've been enjoying themselves. They don't even know that that you are prompting them to be learning. It's just fun. It's just fun. Go to museums. This is a great one for all of us to be able to do with our children. Go to museums, draw pictures if they're not able to write about what they saw at the museum. Perhaps you're going to a museum about ancient Greece, and they might draw pictures of what they saw. Start a story and they could finish a story. You could start with some sentence starters for them and they could finish the sentence. These are all great ideas for you to take learning outside of traditional means and push it forward. Exposing children to other cultures makes children aware that there are differences amongst us and makes them feel and understand the importance of diversity and inclusion. And this is why this is so important, to take them and help them understand life was not always like this. I recently read there was an opportunity for children to go into this one museum and they actually experienced what it was like to be in a third world country. And so the whole section was, they saw where children lived and how they ate and how they went to school. And it was very, it really developed a lot of compassion for these children because they were able to say, well, this would be very hard. What would you think of this life? Well, it would be very hard. So how might we be able to help these children? And it was interesting how the children were so ready to be participating in helping others and really beginning to develop that philanthropic personality in them. So these ideas, whether it's writing outside or using chalk or water or paint even, whether it's taking them to the museum, I love scavenger hunts. Whether they come down in the morning and there's a challenge card for the day on their desk, and the challenge for today is to figure out, fill up a jar of old pennies and to say, let's figure out how we might calculate how many pennies are in this jar. And then at the end of the day, count the pennies. Challenge cards are a fun way to introduce every morning or every afternoon for children when it's a bit more quiet time, it gets hotter outside, bring them in, introduce some challenge cards. I showed you the challenge cards that we have, the STEM ones, they're fabulous. Another great idea is journaling. So this is just a little journal that we have. And this, I just picked this little puppy dog one, and the children can tell a story about what it is that they did. It's a special personal journal. They can share their feelings, their expressions, and their learning. And so, once a child is able to write, this is a great idea to introduce every summer, a journal for them where they can document what it is that they have seen, what it is they have learned, what it is that they have felt, and then review that, because a big part of documentation is taking the time to reflect So what it is we learned, because then that extends our learning. So these are all great ideas for us. I also have books which are huge, and I didn't write them down because I know that you're going to say to me, well, they're of course, books are a big part. So I brought them here. I brought into some fun ones, just them to step into reading for younger children. Remember, you could read the book to them. They could fill in what they can. Remember always that when children are reading that guessing is a great strategy. So don't be hard on your children when they guess the word. Say, that was a good try. Tell me what made you think of that. And they'll tell you, well, because I saw this robot, I thought maybe the word had to do with the robot, so I guessed robot when I saw this mo. That's really smart thinking. And celebrate that with the children, because guessing is a great strategy. I share that because many times parents would say to me, I'm so frustrated. I'm reading with my child and they're guessing all the time. They see the first letter and they see the picture and they guess. And I think, wow, your child's really smart. That's a really great strategy. Having workbooks for math, excellent for adding, subtracting. This book is particularly excellent. It's called Check and Double Check. It's a very inexpensive book. And what happens is we actually review a concept, and then that you check. That's why it's called Check. You check your work to see, and it has like a little quiz, and then you do a bit more, and then you double check to see how the child's progressed and able to have grasped the concept. A child who has struggled, let's say they're in grade 2, we're struggling with math, consider redoing the grade 2 book over the summer. Child has really excelled, moving forward, challenging them on new ideas, and always celebrating. If the book says, in this case, math 3, and I already was in grade 3, just say, no, this is just the number 3 book. Don't get caught up. You see, the book does not say grade 3. We're not about shaming children and into their learning patterns. All children learn in different rates. All children learn in their special, unique way. And to celebrate every piece of learning that they are able to accomplish is so very, very important. Okay, so another poll. What activities will you try this summer with your children? And there's a few of them out there. I listed the ones that we thought you could do. So if you could just chime in on this poll quickly, and let's just see, Katie, or how are we doing? If you can pop it up. It's still going? Okay, I'm just gonna have a little drink while we. It's still going? Oh, okay, here we go. Write on sidewalks. Excellent. 40% of you are going to try that. Go to museums and create a piece of art to reflect your experience. 18% of you felt that was great. Create a scavenger hunt. 33%. And you might think, oh, I don't know, I can't create a scavenger hunt. Go online, go on Pinterest, go look it up online. There'll be you'll have so many ideas you won't even know where to start. So don't feel that you have to. Katie, can you just pop that back up for me? There was one more. And have your children count your change with you. 9%. Oh God, come on, you got to try this. We have to have some really strong math ideas as well. So counting change, counting the number of stoplights till we get to the next, counting how long it took from stoplight for it to go from red to green. For young children, doing lots of counting, lots of adding is really important for children's development with math. And so if we could just move it to the other side. It likes to stick over there, Katie. That's the thing. So just while Katie's doing that, I'm just going to share with you a whole host of other books that we have. I just can't even share all of them with you. There's so many. But this is just a quick little selection of books that, adding and subtracting, basic skills. A great book here on Indigenous people in Canada, so exploring cultures in our own country. Printing, writing, cursive writing, some of you may feel that you would like to develop that a bit more with your children. math success, lots of math, multiplication, addition, subtraction problems. We go all the way up to grade 12. So please feel free to come out and take a look at all of the books because we have lots of options for them. So really, 2 to 3 hours per week is all that is needed to reduce summer slide. 2 to 3 hours per week of active learning that will prevent summer slide. And so that's about 15 to 30 minutes a day. That's not too much. And especially when some of that time is also spent doing activities that we talked about. So what the 2 or 3 hours should consist of. Reading. Now remember, they could read books or instructions or magazines. These are all considered part of reading. If you have a child who wants to read, articles that are about building or magazines that you may have, encourage them to do that. Don't allow it to all be about that it must be a book and it must be a book of your choice or a series that you enjoy. And sometimes you have to try lots of series to find a book that resonates with your child or philosophy. So go to the library. It allows you to explore all kinds of genres without having to purchase all of the books. Math, reviewing numbers or create math problems so that they can be solved. So I was saying to you, every afternoon after lunch, we have a math problem, our challenge for the day, with lots of counters and lots of math manipulatives to help them solve that problem. Even strong students need to work on their skills throughout the summer. So if your child is very strong at school, please don't think that this is not for them and it's only for children who are struggling or weaker in school. It is for all children in order to prevent summer slide. Actually, children who have higher math or reading scores before the summer are more likely to experience summer slide. Now, I thought this was an interesting note that came out, and I think that if you go to the next page, I actually reference where that came from. So the resources for today's presentation, there are 2 resource links that we'll be sending you afterwards just for some more information for you to explore and some more reading if you would like to do some more reading on summer slide. I hope that you enjoyed this evening. I have a list here of things that everyone would like for me to talk to you about. So please chime in your questions, and we're compiling those, and they'll be coming to us in just a moment. Don't forget, again, next Wednesday, July 31st is Teacher Appreciation Day, that we'll be having 20% off in the store and online. And Emily's I just need you to move them because I can't see the board. Thanks. And that we just wanted to make sure that Teacher Appreciation is open to all of you. Those of you that are parents and grandparents as primary educators for children, those of you that are teachers and ECEs as educators. And don't forget, if you happen to be at a homeschooler and you, it's just not just a break for you either over the summer. Summer slide is real for all of us. So please make sure that you come on out and visit us. If you can't make it out, no problem. The website is open, and it's open like all night, right? The web is open 24 hours a day, so you'll be able to log on, and we'll send you all kinds of information. First 25 customers get that great swag bag I showed you, so really try to be one of the first 25 at a retail store. And if you purchase online, Emily's going to be giving out bags from that as well. Are extending our hours from 9 to 9 at the retail store, and we have people here at customer service that are also here for those hours. So if you have questions, just go on to live chat online and share those with us. Jen is going to come back, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about our community. And yeah, Jen's going to talk about it.
Okay. Thanks, Julie. That was amazing. I wanted to share with you.
Actually, Jen, if you want to just finish that board, I'm going to read these questions.
Okay. And I wanted to share with you some of the great ideas that came on our chat that sometimes Julie doesn't get a chance to hear about them. Okay, so we have to pick some winners. I wanted to show you these amazing bags. Teacher appreciation is next Wednesday, and the marketing team has multiple colors and beautiful quotes that everybody's going to want to get one of these. So please try to be the first 25 in your local store. We also have a contest online as well if you're nowhere near the store. So that's for the $250 classroom makeover, which you can use for anything. And that's in store as well. And also we have some ballots in store, special prizes, and also some treats for you. We'll also have, I mentioned on the chat, there's creatives and crafts weekly. There's games and activities at all of your local stores, and that's 20 locations across Canada. Okay, so I want you to join our community. Follow us on social, our Facebook and Instagram at ScholarsChoice, and sign up for emails. That way you get to know our weekly gameplay, our awesome Active World Tough Tray ideas, new products, giveaways. We share great activities with you and events coming up. And of course, crafts. And then our SC rewards coming up really, really soon. And that's going to be next week. So shop at ScholarsChoice. We just got better. So shopping at ScholarsChoice just got better. And check out our screwards.com. Okay, so make sure that you hear that. And we have extended hours for our teacher appreciation for July 31st. That's next Wednesday. Usually we're open at 10-ish. We're open from 9 a.m. A special candy bar. Okay, without any further
say
ado,
that again. We're having a candy bar?
Julie, that's your idea. Let's be
Okay.
honest. That was Julie's idea. Candy for everyone.
It's okay, Katie, we got it.
So let's go, Julie. Let's pick our 5 winners for this month. Thank you so much, everybody, for chiming in.
Our first winner is Vivian Martin.
Congratulations, Vivian.
Our next winner is Michelle Fung. Our next winner is Caitlin Atkinson.
Awesome.
And then Shahid Moldelin.
Beautiful. Congrats, everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Four.
One more.
One more.
One more. Kashindra
Kekskinski. Awesome.
All right, so we have those. So
Thanks, everybody.
Katie wants us to make sure that we invite you back to our next webinar. And she's saying I need to turn it the right way, which would even be better. This is why we need her here with us.
Yeah.
Join us September 24th. So we won't be having a webinar in August. We feel that many of you are on vacation and it's probably a good time, but this one's going to be really great. It's going to be about early years, setting your children up for school success and going through what it requires to be ready and for success with children in school. So how to be organized, how to be creating an atmosphere of learning in your home, and so that it's not a night of conflict every night getting ready for school the next day. And so we want you to set you up for success. So we have some questions here, and if you want to read the questions, then
Okay, the first one's from Caitlin. Do you find gender, and we don't need to be sexist here, but they have this lady named Caitlin has boys and girls, but she's having more issues with the boys. Do you find that sometimes common?
I think that what I notice is a lot of times we want activities for children that are busy and active to be quiet. And when we do that, we find that those children are not as interested. So think about some of the things we talked about. Think about some of the coding with our little B-bot here. Think about some of the dynamic things outside and think about creating those. If you have a child that has an interest in cooking or baking,
measuring, adding, subtracting, blending, mixing. This might be an activity that a child is interested in, but it's really about getting to know that child and really understanding where
That's
those
awesome.
interests are and plugging into that.
That's great. This question here, Julie says, I find children with special needs maybe having a harder time with transitions, and they have felt like they tried everything from visual charts to timing, but they're still having some meltdowns. Do you have any suggestions?
I think that that is a real challenge, and that having them understand that we're going to move on, and it's really about, for me, limiting the number of transitions as possible, so that there are minimum transitions. So in the course of the day, I might not be as apt to say, if we're talking about an early years center, let's say, this is snack time, this is lunch time, I would be much more flexible with those things. I might introduce food, but allow them to make the choice to come and not have it be as regimented. I think that transitions are, just in my recent research, I think that we do a lot of transitions, and it's hard on children, and that being more flexible and more open, and I know that challenges my thinking, and does it challenge yours too?
No,
I very much support transitions, but I need to open my mind to thinking about the possibilities of reducing those to a minimum, especially with a child who's challenging. So think about that. Is there ways for you to really minimize the transitions?
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about this one, Julie? This one says, what are some ideas for a child that's very busy and finds everything boring unless it has to do with electronics?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know how I feel about boring. It's okay to be bored. And to allow a child to sit there and be bored, you'd be surprised if they're bored enough that they're going to find something to do, and their mind is going to go places and create ideas. And I think that we see this when we find children. You've heard this story before. They're in the city, they're bored, so all they want is electronics. They send them out to the camp, out into the woods, out, take them camping, and all of a sudden there is nothing. And here's another great tip. Are you ready for this? This is shocking, but turn off the Wi-Fi. Just turn it off. Be brave. One of our questions here is that any ideas about older kids, such as tweens, the older ones babysitting, but all they want to do is be on video games all day? Well, here's an idea. Take with you the Wi-Fi. Change the password every day, and they can't go on. You need to be brave if you want to change things. We all do in life. We all have to be brave to change things. And so, there's an idea. Or you might say, listen, you can earn it back when I'm at home at night, but we want to see the following things done. We want to see the following activities done. You need to be reading. You need to be doing other explorations, and turn it off. They can't go on if it's not accessible.
Awesome.
I have to tell you, we just recently moved out into the country, and because of the transition, we have no television. It's amazing. Well, I'm reading a lot, and not having any challenges working on my master program because there's no television to watch. So really, I personally am feeling this right now, and it's amazing how much better I am at weeding the garden, and how I'm actually swimming every day because I don't have a television to watch. So I'm just sharing that with you as an adult on a personal level.
Something like that happened to me last year. I went away for a week vacation. I lost my phone for that week. Best week ever, being disconnected. And unfortunately, it's our culture, right? To be connected, and everyone can find us like this. And the children know that is their
and you
culture.
wonder how, sometimes I'm out and about and I think, how did my parents ever cope when I wasn't accessible all the time, which I wanted my children to be accessible all the time.
Yeah, we had to wait till we got home to call.
Well, we were told to be home.
And even then,
So here's another question. What are some ideas for children that are very busy and find everything boring? Oh, we already answered that question. I'm sorry. Here's the one. Oh, yeah. Go ahead and read it.
So what age, Julie, do you recommend using journals to write and draw with?
Well, I love journaling at a very young age. So I know that I open up opportunities for very young, my grandchildren as young as 2, when I'm working in centers in the toddler room, opening up, for children to express themselves, tell me the story, do the
Yes.
painting. As soon as they're able to talk and to be able to express, there'll be this picture, and I would not be able to decipher it. They can spend 10 minutes telling me what that picture means, and I'm in shock and awe that they're able to recreate that. And sometimes they start talking and they go off, but it's all about them using language. So I would say, maybe not a small journal like this, but a great big piece of paper
the sketching books are
that
really
they can
good.
flip through and have
Yeah,
construction
glue stuff
paper
on
they
it.
can glue and stick and make something. So
Good journal.
I would say as early as your child will take an interest in a pen and paper, get them doing mark making. It's so oh my gosh, I know I say this 100 times, it's so very important, but it really is.
And mention this, Lauren had a great idea. One of the chats, she said, just in case you didn't hear it, she talked about paint swatches, and she took some, and then she had her children match with the colors that they found in the world around them, inside and outside, depending on the weather. That was such a great idea. The other great idea we heard was a clipboard. Get clipboards for all the kids. They had clear pockets so they can put their treasures in there and then put it on their awesome journal books. Like
nice, I love it. I love it.
Right?
Somebody else, Patty, said make maps of your neighborhood. Oh, I love that one.
Right.
So go for a walk and make a map, or walk through the woods, and think about who was there 100 years ago. Who was in that woods 100 years ago, and what were those children doing? And journal and write about that. So I think that some of those are amazing ideas. And
okay, so we have one here, Julie. This may be a little bit more difficult, but this person is looking for activities for a teenager about to start high school. So it's about 14.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
So again, if they are into programming, computational thinking, so ask us below to send you the link, and we will. Journaling is I've got to stop saying that, really important, but journaling is critical. Children of that age have a lot of emotions. They're feeling that as their bodies are changing, their minds are also changing, and being able to express that is important to them. So having journals available to them, they might go, oh, that was so ridiculous, and then you'll find that they write it. They're writing in it. So having an opportunity for them to journal would be a great idea. If they're prepping going into high school, math seems to be a very big transition for children. So getting the grade 9 math curriculum book for them. The ones we carry absolutely mirror the curriculum in Ontario. We have some that mirror the curriculum out west too. So just to be checking when you come in. Out east, the ones that we have for Ontario are great. They mirror your curriculum as well. But the other part is that if you could access the books that are going to be used in your high school, even getting children to pre-read novels over the summertime would really just give them a jump, because if you've already read the novel and you're just working on rereading it, it's much easier to focus on the assignments and tasks than it is to start reading a book, especially when you're trying to comprehend Shakespeare. And another great idea is to have audiobooks for Shakespeare, because sometimes we can follow along. So I know that I used to just use audios for the first go through. You get an ear for the language, how it sounds, how the cadence is different, what words actually mean, and then when you go to read your book, it's much easier. So hopefully some of those ideas are good for you.
Absolutely. And children that age too are capable of scheduling different things, active things like biking and sports and camps. And so there's a lot of free activities across Canada. Early ons are free, libraries you mentioned. And we also want to let you know that Scholars Choice also has those games, activities, and creatives every week that's different.
So Jen just mentioned early ons in Canada, making sure that if you're aware they're from birth to age 6. The early on programs are available for you. They're free, they're accessible, they're every day. You go, you stay as a parent with your child there. They fill up fast, so when you find the time, be early. because you might be turned away if you're not there early, but they have fabulous educators there, educators to work with children. And actually they've introduced this year facilitators for families as well. So when you go now, you'll see the 2 people at the Early On Center. So that would be great for you to take a look.
Awesome. So one of the questions here, I think it's our last one. Do you have any pre-K or kindergarten workbooks to get ready for school? And
yes. Oh, and I'm so sorry. I didn't bring them.
But you do have some free, and you also have.
Oh, there they are, Jen, right
free.
there.
Yeah.
Here we go. So here are some young ones that I picked up, and Jen and I picked up earlier in the store.
Right.
Here's a K 1 to 30. Here is a K to 1 sight words, and here's a K dot to dot. And we have pre-K books as well that do some more preliminary learning, and so they're available as well. So we have books for great for sort of age 3 and up.
These are amazing. We love these letters, and we have numbers as well. So they play, and you interact with them and engage. They don't even know they're learning. They're learning because they're having fun.
Yeah, and you're
Numbers,
reinforcing all of those.
That's right.
All of those important skills with a lot of the toys that we have back here. Math Squared, Canada's #1 math game here. Math Squared, if you don't have it, you need to have it. It is Canada's #1 math game. On one side is multiplication, on the other side is addition. It's great number recognition. Children can just find numbers as they trace around the board. It's great to have. Every home needs one. It is an amazing game and played by all. You get 3 in a row and you try and you win. So you try and knock each other out. And it's a lot of fun as well as just great learning. So we just want to remember to invite you to our next webinar, which is on September 24th. And it's all about setting your children up for school success. Don't forget about Teacher Appreciation next Wednesday, July 31st. Stores are open 9 to 9, and the web sales start at midnight the night before, I think 11 p.m. the night before, and go all the way through that day and all the way to the next morning at 9 a.m. So it's a long period of time. Check online. We have all of the details up there. Don't forget about one of the most exciting things is that shopping at Scholars Choice just got better. SC rewards are being launched on Teacher Appreciation, and now you not only have your discount, but you earn points for free product. And we're going to think of a million ways for you to earn those points so that you can get free product. Because remember, at Scholars Choice, our mission is to make sure that every child achieves their hopes and dreams. And we want you to have accessible products and literature and information. So we put on these webinars to support you. Have a wonderful summer. We look forward to seeing you again in September. All the very best, and have a great evening. Good night.
Good night.